overall sense of the multiplicity of ways in which Vatican II was seen, felt, and understood, both during and after the event itself. This book is divided into 7 further chapters. Chapter 2 explains how the Council came to be, in terms of both its proximate causes, in other words, the when, why, and how of its calling, and the backstory of various currents of Catholic theology and history, which flowed, if in some cases rather meanderingly, into it. Chapter 3 provides a potted history of Vatican II, the main contours of how the event itself actually played out over and between the 4 sessions. The upcoming 4 chapters focus on what the Council actually taught and enacted. Naturally prominent here will be the 16 principal documents it produced. We will particularly focus on the 4 which the Council itself deemed the most important, that is, the 4 constitutions, while considering aspects of various other decrees and declarations, which tend to be shorter and more focused on giving an in-depth treatment of a specific topic in light of them. In all 4 of these chapters, our primary aims are to introduce the key ideas in the texts themselves and to explain something of how they came to be there. Where possible, we will also explore, or at least point listeners to where others have explored, aspects of how the conciliar teachings have fared once released into the wild. While this is itself an enormous topic, and we will therefore have to be very selective, it is also critical. For the Council's teachings were always intended to be received and implemented far beyond the printed page. The Council Fathers, as the Jesuit historian John O'Malley has rightly emphasized, wanted something to happen. What somethings actually did then happen, even if not always the somethings that were hoped to, are thus indispensable parts of the Council's story and ongoing relevance. They are also critical for comprehending why Vatican II has been, and still is, the source of much controversy and contestation. This will be the subject of the 8th and final chapter, which looks at the overall legacy of the Council and the various main ways of interpreting and making sense of it all, hermeneutics, which have emerged in the half-century and more since it closed. Ecumenical Council. The significance of Vatican II flows in multiple ways from its status as an ecumenical council, indeed, as the 21st such one in the history of the Catholic Church. But what precisely is an ecumenical council in the first place? One cannot properly grasp why this particular council matters without a basic sense of the Catholic meaning of an ecumenical council and the special authority that such gatherings are considered to possess. According to the Code of Canon Law, the systematic revision of which, completed in 1983, was itself one of the late flowering fruits of Vatican II, an ecumenical council is a special gathering of the world's bishops, mandated by the Pope, in order that they might collectively exercise power over the universal Church in a solemn manner. That's a start, at least. Bishops here, of course, mean Catholic bishops, which in practice means those of the Latin Church, or of one of the 23 Eastern Catholic churches in full communion with the Pope, the Bishop of Rome. This is important to note, since, contrary to popular perception, not least among Catholics themselves, the Catholic Church, strictly speaking, comprises a couple of dozen particular churches, each with their own hierarchies, customs, practices, liturgical rites, and ways of doing things. The Latin Church is the largest of these, and thanks to the traditional primacy of Rome, has tended to overshadow the others, though all are of equal dignity. This was something many Eastern Catholic bishops felt keen to stress during the council itself. Hence, Patriarch Maximus IV Sieg, head of the Melkite Greek Catholic Church, symbolically refusing to speak in Latin, the traditional lingua franca of the Latin particular church, not the Catholic Church itself, during debates. He spoke French instead. There is, therefore, a certain sense in which Vatican II was an ecumenical council in something like the modern meaning of the term, since the Catholic Church